One of my first jobs was working at a computer store. And while I was working there, I uncovered the most interesting phenomenon. Some old people are literally scared of technology. One lady in particular was too scared to even touch an iPad for fear of causing the next Armageddon. And that may sound weird to some of you, but it makes perfect sense. Like Eugene was saying, sometimes people are scared of things which they don't really understand. And the issue with genetic engineering is exactly the same. People don't fully understand it. And I tell people all the time that I study genetic engineering, and they ask me this question: when are you going to start the next zombie apocalypse? Now, we've been researching the negatives, the risks of genetic engineering for 20 years now, and we've virtually come up with nothing. To think that genetic engineering is going to cause the next zombie apocalypse is like thinking that by using an iPad, we're going to be causing every other iPad in the world to spontaneously combust. It's not going to happen. But there's been a lot of rhetoric and propaganda from both sides, but today I want you to forget that. I want to show you a new future, one that genetic engineering can be a part of, but not just genetic engineering, but hopefully all science. Now, to do this, we must delve into the world of cancer. And one of my main questions to you today is this: what if one of our greatest adversaries could be stopped with one of our greatest scientific controversies? Just sit in that for a moment. I want to show you how genetic engineering can be used to help people, to change our society. New Zealand, the place we all love. Now, let's look at our greatest adversary, cancer. Now, cancer is not only killing a lot of people, it's going to kill a whole lot more. You can see that our future outlook is that more people are going to die. More of our brothers, more of our sisters, more of our fathers are going to die from cancer. And let's look at our solution, this. And this picture, even though it's poorly resized, really illustrates the views of genetic engineering. People just don't seem to like it. And people were scared of it. But people were scared of all change. No matter where you go in life, there's going to be people who are scared. But today I want to help you to understand that we can use this if we can just be a little bit more courageous to help New Zealand. And to start off with, we need to look at what the current solutions are. And the first thing is that we have traditional cancer therapies. We have radiation, we have chemotherapy, but that is like dropping a bomb on a city. It may kill some bad guys, but it's going to kill a whole lot more good guys. And after all that explosions and thundering and boom, what's happening? We may not actually get the bad guys after all. And that's the issue with this, is that we may not even fight cancer. We may not even get it after all that suffering, all that pain, all these courageous people sitting there fighting cancer, and we still may not even get it. And that's our issue. That's our problem that we need to solve. So to show you an answer, I need to build you a picture. What would chemotherapy look like in an ideal world? Now, have any of you guys here seen Star Wars, the movie? All right, so our cancer is our Death Star. We need to fight it. We need to get it. We need to destroy it any way possible. We need some robots. And so if we were to design a robot to fight cancer, what would it have? Well, it needs a propeller to move the damn thing. It needs a targeting system to find out where the weak spots are and get it. We need to have an externally detectable signal so we can see it on a radar. But most of all, we need some serious firepower. We need some bullets that are going to blow this thing to smithereens. Unfortunately, these robots do not exist. But we use something else. We use viruses and bacteria, known as microbes. And what we do is that, for example, the bacteria has natural abilities that we can exploit. It's got a flagellum. It helps it to move. So we've got the motor already. And all we need to do is genetically engineer a few more cool features, like we talked about before in the robot, and it's there. We have something that can fight cancer, something that can help millions of people. And this comes down to this technology I'm talking about. And the name for it is gene-directed enzyme prodrug therapy. And if that was a mouthful, the abbreviation is worse, GDEPT. Unfortunately, scientists don't really elegantly name much things very well, so that's fine though. And the thing that really lies at the center of it is that we're using disease. We're using the things that actually hurt us, and we're turning them against cancer. So you can see here, we've got some viruses, we've got some bacteria, and these things usually, if we saw them and touched them, we wouldn't want to do that because we get sick. But what we can do is we can genetically engineer out the nasty stuff and add in the features we talked about before using genetic engineering. And the thing about these, why we use these, is A, because its genetics is really easy to manipulate, but B, they actually prefer low oxygen environments. And the thing here that's really good is that when we have a cancer growing in your body, it actually outgrows the blood vessels which provide oxygen. So suddenly, we have this low oxygen environment, and these critters love to hang out there. So fantastic. We can actually have these viruses chilling out in the bad cells, and the healthy cells are not affected. But at this point in time, they're only just chilling there. So what do? We need to have some way of adding some serious bullets to it. So what we do is we do something a little bit technical here. And so the enzyme is an enzyme inside of a bacteria or a virus. And an enzyme essentially is a helper molecule. It helps reactions to happen. And so what we do is this bacteria that hangs out in the cancer cells produces this helper molecule, and then we add what's called a prodrug. Now, a prodrug is an inactivated drug, so it's not quite potent yet. And what it does is we put it in, and the prodrug will turn to a toxin only where there's bacteria. And like I said before, bacteria and viruses like to hang out in low oxygen environments. So we have a therapy here that can kill cancer and peripherally select for the cancerous cells over the healthy ones. But what we do rely on is this thing called the bystander effect. And the bystander effect is kind of like gang wars. And so if you kill the top gangster, the gang suddenly collapse. Every other gangster goes. Goodbye. Bam. Leaving the innocent civilians unharmed. That is your bystander effect. If you can get one cancer cell, it's going to spread to every other cancer cell, leaving the healthy ones unharmed. And scientists, we exploit this effect so we can get the cancer early and we can smash it to smithereens without hurting any other healthy cells or any terrible side effects. And the result? Astounding. With the prodrug by itself, 10% survival rate. With the virus by itself, a 10% survival rate. But with the whole therapy combined, we have a 60% survival rate. That's our potential, 60% survival rate. Unfortunately though, it was only in mice. And this is our issue. Our issue is that the enzyme that we give to bacteria, or that helper molecule, isn't good enough yet. It doesn't quite work well in humans. And the other issue is that, unfortunately, we haven't been able to introduce something that we can see on a radar. So this is where David Ackley from Victoria steps in with his team, and they make better enzymes. Enzymes that are going to work in humans, and enzymes that we can scan using hospital scanners to see exactly where the bacteria are. So we know that the bacteria are actually in the bad cells and not any healthy ones by accident. So how do they do that? They do this thing called directed evolution. So what we do is we genetically engineer a few mutations into the cell. Then we select the best enzymes that are made using these genetic edits. And then we genetically engineer a whole lot more mutations. And then we select again. And so we're all introducing mutations, then we're selecting, we're introducing mutations, and then we're selecting. Does it sound familiar to anyone? This is actually evolutionary processes. This has been happening for billions of years, but instead of waiting billions of years, we can do this in a day. That's how powerful science has become. And so the hope is that we can find that golden bullet enzyme so that we can use this in humans. And not only is the social potential great, but you can make a bit of cash monies too. Everyone likes that. Everyone likes the money. Everyone likes growing our economy, and we can do this too. So this is Amgen. Amgen's based in the States. They make viruses, or bacteria, or whatever you want to call it. In this case, it's a virus. And essentially, they have been bought out for US $1 billion. $1 billion. Proactor, a few you might know who this is, and they make prodrugs. Oh wait, prodrugs is using this therapy too. And they're a high-flying New Zealand company that's now based in San Francisco, I'm pretty sure. And they have made a commercial success out of this. Well, they're going to at least. With science, kind of a bit of a long timeline with these things. But essentially, these are two parts of the puzzle. And New Zealand's making the third part, the enzyme. So there could be a pretty big payday for someone, well, David and his team, and that's going to flow into our whole economy. But this is not the be-all and end-all of life, although it's pretty cool. I want to look at the bigger picture, genetic engineering, the big foe that we saw 10 years ago that the whole country was divided over. I want to revisit this. And it comes down to change. How do we deal with change? Change is like this cartoon here. For a lot of people, change is a bad guy, a robber. It robs people of life. But is change really like that? Is change something that we should be scared of? Is change something that we should run away from and lock up in a cage? Or should we be embracing change? Should we be following change and trying to deal with it in the best way we can? And I know we make mistakes, and we've made a few mistakes with genetic engineering, but I think we need to really confront this head on and say, how do we deal with change? Let's show some courage as a country, and let's take this beast head on. And the potential of it is huge. Now this bar here is Genetech, one of the world's biggest genetic engineering companies. And this is New Zealand's GDP, our entire output. Look at the difference. There's barely none. And this here is a minimum estimated value. Minimum. This is one country output versus one company. This is our potential. And, I'm not saying that New Zealand's going to get all of this big fat chunk of gold, but we can be a part of it. We can be a part of this. But then, what about Sir Paul? Sir Paul, in his speeches, said that biotech was bad, didn't he? He said that biotech was overinvested in and that it was a waste of money, didn't he? Well, I think there was a bit of a misunderstanding there. Paul's point was that we shouldn't overinvest into stuff like genetic engineering, anything. So, it could be tiddlywinks, it could be high-temperature superconductors. But what the point is that New Zealand needs to show some courage. We have the hard-working people. We have people who are transparent and open. But what we need is you. We need to show some courage. We need to leave our scientists to understand genetic engineering. We need to leave them to be, because they're the ones who can understand and they're the ones who can exploit it. To finish, I want to ask two questions. What if New Zealand can be a world leader in genetic modification by using it in an ethical and sustainable manner? And what if we can show the world how to use new technology in a best practice manner? I've run out of time, but I want you to remember one thing. We need to show courage. Let's embrace our scientists and not run away from this one. Thanks.